I'm Jon White. I'm a former Royal Marines officer. Joined the Royal Marines when I was 19 and ended up specialising as a mountain leader. And 8 and a half years into that career, I stood on an improvised explosive device in Afghanistan and sustained 3 amputations, so both my legs above the knee and my right arm above the elbow. So that was back in 2010, and I've been kind of on the road to recovery ever since. And I do a mixture of things now, from business consulting and speaking to engineering and manufacturing, which is kind of a hobby business of mine. And then I'm also a professional athlete kayaking. It was back in June 2010 on my second tour of Afghanistan when I was on a foot patrol. It was very early morning, so we had left in the darkness and the light had just started to come up. So you just kind of had that grey dawn sky, not dissimilar to this today. I was in command of the patrol, and all of a sudden my world just kind of, the way I describe it, I just went into slow motion. And I had this sensation of flying through the air, kind of looking up at that grey dawn sky, and just thinking, oh God, it's me. I kind of just knew there and then what happened to me. I hate it when I go for more than a couple of days without being on the water, because it's just so, it's freeing for me. Normally once a week on a Sunday afternoon, I will, Bex will bring the kids up onto the canal back home and walk the dog, and it's the only time I can race my son. Being on the water is just freedom that I don't get on land. I barely feel disabled on the water. So I think when you get to that stage where, having been supported by a charity and then finding yourself in a position where you can give back to them, it's very satisfying, and it makes you feel good, and it kind of shows you how far you've come. You're not dependent on them anymore. In fact, you can help support them. For me, the definition of duty is deciding that there is something more important than you and giving yourself to that. And for me, that was service to the nation. In terms of being a Royal Marine, it's not just service to the nation, it's service to the human race more globally. I don't like the term sacrifice. What I decided was that doing that job was more important than my physical health and well-being. And that's what I decided to do.